Changes unfolding in the race for Pennsylvania Avenue. Changes that have the MAGA movement back in full swing. Trump is back, baby. The momentum is off the chart. We're going to look at it in the polling as well that just dropped this morning. But after last night's epic Madison Square Garden rally, more than 80,000 people attended, up to 100,000 people, 20,000 inside the arena alone. The arena was packed to the gills. The overflow was filled, massive crowds waiting outside, people camping out for over 24 hours. And the scenes, like the picture or the portrait or the picture that was painted from this rally of where America is, I think it broke the Democrats last night. We're going to show you what we mean. The Democrats with their acolytes and corporate media, they've lost their minds. Mika Brzezinski literally breaking down, had a panic attack live on air last night. CNN admitting also Trump may actually end up sweeping this election, trying to prepare their audience for what could be coming next week. And then once everyone calmed down a bit, they went into full rabid propaganda mode. Wait till you see this. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps out the channel. And consider subscribing so you don't miss these regular updates.
So Jews and Muslims and Catholics and evangelicals and Mormons, and they're all joining our cause in large numbers, larger than anyone has ever seen in this country before, larger than they've ever seen in any country. And the Republican Party has really become the party of inclusion, and that's something very nice about it. Issue after issue. Kamala broke it, but I will fix it. We're going to fix it.
That right there, hands down, the best line I heard all campaign throughout the entire race. Kamala broke it, but I will fix it. Kamala's broke it, but Trump will fix it. Every one of his surrogates needs to get out there over the next 7 days and use that line over and over again. Now, there's commentary from all sides of the spectrum about this MSG rally last night. I'm going to give it to you straight. The Trump rally last night, it was epic. I had friends there who, by the way, are big MAGA people. They've gone to plenty of these Trump rallies. This was hands down on a different level, apparently. I watched it, but I knew people there. 80,000 plus people attended, up to 100,000 people, 20,000 inside the arena alone. All stripes, all walks of life. Every race, every creed and gender, everyone was happy, laughing, having a good time. So let's just get that on the record. What you're hearing on corporate media are lies, folks, pure, unadulterated lies. That the rally was a you-know-what rally, a hate-filled rally. It's propaganda. And you saw this start, by the way, from the minute the Trump campaign announced their plans for this rally weeks ago. You saw it right away. Dems and the media immediately knew that they were going to be in trouble, that they had a problem. Trump going into the belly of the beast and packing the house. And you saw them respond right away, pushing the old and tired racism narrative, claiming Trump purposely chose this venue only to pay homage to a pro-you-know-what rally that was held there in 1939, even though you had Jews for Trump there, thousands of rally goers rocking their Trump yarmulkes yesterday. You had Israel flags flying, you had Palestine flags flying, you had USA flags flying, of course. Everyone was there, everyone was happy. Even the former First Lady used this line. Really, she was the one who started this over a week ago. Roll the tape.
And you know, one other thing that you'll see next week, Caitlin, is Trump actually reenacting the Madison Square Garden rally in 1939. I write about this in my book. President Franklin Roosevelt was appalled that neo-Nazis, fascists in America were lining up to essentially pledge their support for the kind of government that they were seeing in Germany. So I don't think we can ignore it.
Now, unfortunately for them, if they did even the smallest amount of homework, they know Madison Square Garden has been moved and rebuilt numerous times. I think it was 3 times since the 1940s. It's such a lazy style of attack. It's boring and nobody's buying it. Americans have heard all this for years. At this point, it goes in one ear, out the other, and it's driving the establishment folks, the anti-Trump folks, crazy. They are quite literally losing their minds. saying the wackiest things now live on air. Mika Brzezinski, she had a panic attack last night as she's watching 5,000 people, 10,000 people show up at Madison Square Garden, 20,000, 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, filling Madison Square Garden, people filling outside, packing themselves in like sardines, not to protest, but to be there in support of the former president. She lost her mind. Watch this.
I think a lot of people are seeing that rally at Madison Square Garden, seeing all those people. Doesn't mean he's going to win the race. But my point is, it's discouraging that so many people would gather and rally to hate speech in America. That it's discouraging and it hurts that people who have family in Puerto Rico, who are Puerto Rican Americans, who are American citizens, are hearing hate like that. It's discouraging, Joe. And I do want to show Michelle Obama in Kalamazoo, but I just think it's important to look at the situation. And it's not just, oh my gosh, about the race. It's, oh my gosh, how did we get here? How did we get here where a stadium of people come to hate? That's a different country, a different time.
You know how you get past that?
How do you get past that?
Work harder, vote,
yes,
and win. That's how you get past it.
Now, unfortunately, they got lucky. They would have continued like this all night, but comedian Kill Tony gave them the hook they needed to justify these attacks, even if what they're saying isn't true. They clearly don't care anymore. They are foaming at the mouth, rabid, in pure attack mode for the next 7 days, and probably for the rest of his administration, just like last time. And Kill Tony, one of the highest rated comedians on the internet, I'm sure you know who he is, was invited to do a roast, and he said this. Roll the tape.
This morning, the Trump campaign is playing cleanup, trying to distance the campaign and the candidate from comments made from the stage at his big rally yesterday here in New York. Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe was among the warm-up acts to speak, and here's what he said.
I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. These Latinos, they love making babies too. Just know that. They do. They do. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico.
What does it mean today? What does it do today?
You know, this honestly isn't really about a comedian. This is about the Trump campaign. Those comments and that individual saying those things on that stage, inciting an entire arena of individuals who have been previously incited to commit attacks like the ones we saw on January 6th by people like Donald Trump. None of that was an accident. These campaign events are put together. They are vetted. That language was vetted by the Trump campaign.
Okay, so you hear the way they're portraying this, right? Trump, the entire event, the biggest event of the entire campaign, probably one of the largest political rallies in recent memory. They sum it up like that. This is what they do. Playing these gotcha games, asking every Republican today, this morning, to respond to these comments that were made at Trump's rally last night, even though it was a comedian and a joke. And most people aren't even aware what the joke meant, unfortunately. The joke was about the massive trash problem off the coast of Puerto Rico. Excellent journalist Michael Schellenberger popped their hate parade last night when he explained this on X, posting this. The media's claiming that a comedian at the Trump rally today made a racist joke about Puerto Ricans. He didn't. He was poking fun at the island's infamous trash problem. The media are acting ignorant about it, but they have covered it for years. So this is what we're up against. The press being purposely dishonest. We all knew it was going to happen, but they're in overdrive right now, acting as the Kamala Harris press team. Meanwhile, the polls are showing all the momentum is with Donald Trump. All the momentum. Gaining in the polls day after day, even the national polls. Like we've been saying for weeks on this channel, the national polls are neck and neck now. Ladies and gentlemen, that means that Trump has a very good chance of winning the popular vote as well. It's not guaranteed. Everyone has to still get out and vote. Always get out and vote. Make your voice heard in whatever way you can. Right now it's voting. Get out there and do that. Don't think because He appears to be up everywhere. He's got all the momentum. You don't have to do that. Make sure you do. Vote early if you can. National polls, they track with the popular vote. That's how it works. Even CNN of all outlets had to admit this to their audience over the weekend. Harry Hinton, he's their pollster, who's, by the way, actually a pretty good pollster, delivered the devastating news on Saturday. Roll the tape.
Trump may finally get his great white whale. Harris versus Trump national margin. You mentioned that New York Times poll, a tie. That's actually right in the middle of the spectrum when we're talking about recent polling data. You don't have to look very far to find Donald Trump ahead nationally. He was up by 2 points in the CNBC poll, up by 3 in the Wall Street Journal poll. Very close races within the margin of error. But then the same thing on the other side, right? You have Harris up by 3 points according to Ipsos. The Say 24 YouGov poll, it's a bunch of academics, also has Harris up by 3. But the bottom line is, with the popular vote, which we really haven't focused upon, a very, very tight race, John. Fact is, Donald Trump is very much in a position he could win the popular vote, which, of course, is something he would absolutely love to do.
And would be something very different than we have seen compared to last time and the polling compared to last time.
Exactly right. So I went back through the time machine, all right? I went back through the time machine to see where were the past 2 races at this point in the campaign. Look, Harris in the average poll right now is up by 1. Well within the margin of error. You go back 4 years ago, Joe Biden was well ahead of Donald Trump in the national popular vote polls. He was up by 9. Even Hillary Clinton was up by 6 points. So now Donald Trump's in a position he really hasn't been before at this point in the campaign where he could truly compete, and we can truly say that the popular vote at this point is way too close to call. Of course, this is only going back 8 years. I wanted to jump even further back in my time machine to get an understanding. Hey, I haven't heard about a Republican potentially winning the popular vote in a while. And it turns out a Republican winning the popular vote, it hasn't happened since 2004 in George W. Bush defeating John Kerry. And that's only the one time that it has happened. In fact, you have to go all the way back to 1988 to find another one when it was George W. Bush's father, George H.W. Bush, winning the popular vote over Michael Dukakis. So the fact that the polls right now are so close, John, the fact that Donald Trump has a legitimate shot of winning the popular vote is something I think a lot of folks, including in my line of work, really didn't think could possibly happen when Donald Trump was running last time around. He could make history, not just for Donald Trump, for a Republican candidate as well.
Then polling from today, released today, Monday, October 28th. In the swing states, the battleground toss-up states, as Trump leading. Wisconsin, Trump leads by 1 in a new USA Today Suffolk poll. Pennsylvania, must-win state for Kamala Harris, a must-win state. Trump leads by 1 in this new Insider Advantage poll. Again in Michigan, Trump leading by 1. Those are the blue wall states, people. These are the states that Kamala Harris has spent the last month of her campaign focusing on. She's all but given up on the Sunbelt states. She needs all 3 of these blue wall states to win, and Trump's leading in all of them. Now, what about early voting? Let's just say it's not looking good for the Harris team. Watch.
Early voting is underway in every swing state, and we are setting all-time records. They're voting, I tell you what. I don't want to talk about it, but we have to keep it going. You got to get out and vote. We just have to get out. And who would have thought this was going to happen? We're leading in every swing state.
42% Republican. Why is that?
Well, what's interesting is in Nevada, look at that number. Republicans have returned 40% of the Republicans who requested, of all the early votes, 40% are Republican, 35% are Democrats.
Why is that? Is that because he was the first to say no tax on tips?
Well, I don't know, but
7 more days. That's it. 7 days to go to tell establishment Washington, to tell the Kamala Harrises, the Joe Bidens, the Obamas, the Cheneys, that we are done with you. We're turning the page on you, taking Kamala's words. So don't forget, make sure to get out and vote. Vote early if you can. All right.